What is up, YouTube? I'm Galdite74 here, bringing you guys the semifinals of APM Season 3. For our semifinals game, we are taking on Vemneus, coach of the Alaskan Articunos. We finished off the regular season with a 5-7 record, while my opponent finished off the regular season with an 8-4 record. Now, just like last week, I do want to apologize to my opponent if I'm butchering your name. You can roast me in the comment section below. I am really bad with pronunciating some things. And speaking of last week, we pulled off an upset by beating the #1 seed, which was absolutely wild in my opinion, and it still is just thinking about it. And when you add that on top of our last two PTL playoff games on the channel, we have a lot of momentum going into this game, and I'm feeling really confident in this game despite everything around it. Feeling pretty good. Last time, however, we did make semifinals in a league. It was the PCP, and we choked tremendously bad in that league. That was one of the biggest chokes I ever had in a game, at least a playoff game. We should have won that, but, I switched out for no damn reason. That's how it went last time. Speaking of last time as well, all these nice transitions we got going on here. This is actually a rematch against Vemneus. We did beat him in the regular season in a really close game. It was a really stunning watch. If you haven't seen it, it is on the channel. We won based off a damage roll that was in my favor, and we got it, and it led to the clown sweeping. So that was a pretty epic matchup. Hopefully we can win and get another shot at an APM championship, at least in the majors, because we did win lower tiers already. But hopefully we can win the majors, as we did lose in the last majors in the finals against Love. Vemneus has a fantastic team, one of my favorites in the league. He's got a lot of underrated threats like Kamo and Necrozma. However, this matchup actually isn't that bad for us. I feel like we have a good shot of winning this, as like last time, of course. Our team matches up against him relatively well, so that's pretty cool. And I'm going to go into his team and break it down. My opponent Vemneus this week has the same team as our last battle. His team consists of Hoopa Unbound, Necrozma, Komo'o, Gengar, Alolan Ninetales, Klefki, Shaman, Heliolisk, Alomomola, Palisand, Moltres, and Carbink that can Dynamax. Now I expect my opponent to bring consist of Hoopa Unbound, Necrozma, Gengar, Alolan Ninetales, Shaman, and a Moltres. Three things I could very well expect him to also bring, if he doesn't bring one of these six, is Klefki, because T-Wave is very annoying for my offense, and that could really stop my offensive momentum from sweeping his team. Palisand, because it does stop my Magnezone, and I have had a lot of success with Magnezone this season, and he knows that, so that could be a way to stop that. And then Komo'o, just because Komo'o is generally a good Pokemon overall. The only reason I didn't really see it coming is that I think a few things have better matchups, and then not one Komo'o set really stands out to me in my opinion. But those is kind of what I'm expecting him to bring. And speaking of expecting him to bring, Hoopa or Gengar is 100% being Scarf. One of those two, if both of them come, one of them is definitely Scarf. There's no question about it. I actually really think Gengar is going to be Scarf, because last time it was Specs, and it kind of, because he wasn't Scarf, it cost him the game there. And I definitely feel like he's not going to let that happen again. So I really expect his fastest Mon Gengar to be Scarf this week, so it stops my Serp or whatever, Cloyster if I'm smashed actually, which I thought about bringing. And if it's not Gengar, it's Hoopa, because Hoopa in general is just a good Scarf Mon. Maybe not against my team, but I feel like it can be. But I expect that thing to be banned if it's not Scarf. It'll be choice in some way. And Necrozma I could see coming. He brought Dragon Dance last time. I feel like he might be Calm Mind Autotomized this week with weakness policy. Just because I expect Alolan Ninetales to set up Roarvel and him just go ham with his offense, with Gengar, Necrozma, Hoopa. That could be very scary against my team, and I definitely have to watch out for that. His defense doesn't pair up too well against me. Bulky Moltres is kind of annoying, but I do have ways to deal with it. And that is just a really quick rundown of my opponent's team. I really don't have much else to say about this because, again, our matchup is not that bad overall. My plan is just to maintain speed control in this matchup. If I can do that, I feel like I'll have a nice time. I wanted the Serperior endgame last time and it didn't quite work out. I'm going to try and do it again this time and make sure it can do a lot of work, because Serperior has a lot of potential in this game. And last time, Blacephalon was sort of going to be the cleaner because it was Scarf. This time, it's going to be playing more of a breaking role in this game. I want Blacephalon to get a kill early, or at least damage a bunch of things early, then it's done its job. So that's sort of the game plan this week. What I'm bringing to the semifinals game is going to consist of Serperior, Magnezone, Blacephalon, Aromatisse, Cloyster, and Gliscor. Alright, we are diving straight into our win con this week to start us off. We have Serperior. Serperior outspeeds max speed Gengar. I'm pulling the Assault Vest, but I'm very offensive with max attack. Moves being Leaf Storm, Giga Drain, Dragon Pulse, and Hidden Power Rock. First off, Hidden Power Rock is to make sure I can always Oko Moltres if I'm at +2. It would have to either A, be Charty Berry, or B, Max Calm, though I really don't see him being that EV spread this week. That is what Hidden Power Rock is there for. Dragon Pulse hit the Komo'o, and then Grass for everything else. AV is really good on this because he has a lot more special attackers than physical attackers, and it allows Superior to take a lot more hits better from stuff like the Heliolisk if it wants to come, the Palo Sand. One interesting calc is that Gengar, if it's Scarf, which I expect it to be, will never Oko me from full, which is pretty nice, unless it crits, of course. And Leaf Storm will do a lot back to it. And I do have Giga Drain to get a decent amount of health back from stuff like what I mentioned earlier, so I can stay healthy throughout the battle if I need to use it early. Again, have to watch out for Scarfers, because otherwise Superior outspeeds his entire team. I have to be careful of Assault Vest Mons, and I do have to boost up initially to get powerful. Once I'm at +2, it looks really scary for his team, because he does not have a switch into Serp once I'm at +2. And that is going to be the win con this week, and I feel like Superior can definitely do it, because it just breaks so many Mons on his team. That is Superior. Second up is going to be Magnezone. Magnezone is pretty specially bulky with a little bit of speed. I'm holding the leftovers this week, moves being a Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, and Toxic. Last time we battled, Necrozma came in behind Veil, of course, and started DDing in front of Magnezone. That was very scary. So I have Toxic this time around just to make sure I can at least neuter that sort of. It would be forced to be like Lumberry or Rest or whatever this case could be. Magnezone also has a really solid matchup in this game overall. It completely walls stuff like the Ninetales, the Klefki, the Alomomola, the Gengar. If it's Scarf, it's pretty wallable for the most part. I do have to be a little bit careful with Klefki. The thing about Klefki is that last time he brought leftovers and he was not Shed Shell. If Klefki does decide to come this week, 100% be Shed Shell, just because without Klefki, then like Superior is really scary against his team, because that's the one. That's why I kind of expect him to be, but just in case he isn't, I am going to be Magnet Pool just to trap that thing. But again, it's just a really good way to kind of deal with the Ninetales overall and make sure that thing doesn't get out of hand. Gengar can never lock itself in the Sludge Wave, so that's pretty cool. Magnezone is there for that, and that is that set. Third up is going to be our Breaker of the Week. We have Blacephalon with enough speed to outspeed Shaman. I have the Expert Belt, moves being Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Psychic, and Hidden Powered Bug. I believe this is the exact same moveset I had last time. By the way, I have the 56 EVs in defense over HP, so I can guarantee live a foul play from Ninetales. If I put in an HP, then there was a chance it could knock me out, but in the defense, it won't happen. This, I wanted to break stuff early on because it does outspeed a lot of his team. Granted, there are a few mons that are just a little bit faster, Heliolisk and Gengar namely, so that is a little bit scary to go up against. But with the Expert Belt, I hit a lot of things on his team super effectively. Hidden Power Bug almost nukes Hoopa. Hoopa can live it. Shadow Ball is going to do a lot to Necrozma, though I have to be careful weakness policy, of course. Psychic does so much to Komodo. I need a little bit of chip on stuff, and even if like Blacephalon trades 1-for-1 with something, if it's one of his higher tier mons, then I'm completely fine with that. And I expect Blacephalon to either go down early or do a lot of work early, one of the two. So that is kind of what the game plan is for Blacephalon. It's here to kind of just break early instead of kind of trying clean late game. That is Blacephalon. Fourth up is Aromatisse. This is max HP, max defense. Moonblast, Toxic, Wish, Protect. It's a pretty standard Aromatisse. He does not have many physical attackers. He has a lot of special attackers, but his physical attackers are, scary. Necrozma, Komodo, and Hoopa are the three named ones that I'm really focusing in on. Aromatisse completely shuts down a physical Hoopa unless it's choiced into Gunk Shot. If it's choiced in the Gunk Shot, then like Magnezone always gets some nice pivots around, or Cloyster can come in and hit off an attack. So that's not the scariest thing in the entire world. Aromatisse is always a good switch in the Komodo because it's a fairy type. And then Necrozma isn't doing too much initially to Aromatisse. If it does decide to be Dragon Dance again, I don't think my opponent's going to be running Iron Hit on that. And that's kind of all Aromatisse is here for. I have to be really careful with stuff like the Gengar and the Moltres, because this does let Moltres get a free substitute if he's going to be like a sub-toxic set. And that's really annoying for my team to go up against. And then Gengar, I don't want to give Gengar too many free turns. If it's Scarf, then I can sort of switch around it, but I don't want to if I don't have to. Otherwise, that is going to be the Aromatisse set. Fifth up is going to be Scarf Cloyster. For some reason, I love Scarf Ice types for whatever reason, and Cloyster I felt like was pretty good in this matchup. I have Icicle Spear, Rock Blast, Ice Shard, and Spikes. This outspeeds everything that isn't Scarf on his team. Icicle Spear is really good against his team overall, except for stuff like the Alomomola and Klefki, which Rock Blast also doesn't really break through those two mods. But otherwise, Cloyster looks really good here. I have Ice Shard for priority just in case he's like Belly Drum sub Komodo. I don't want to be caught off guard against that because I did lose to a Belly Drum sub Darm in semifinals before. Don't want that happening. And this also breaks substitutes too, and stuff like the Moltres I just said about like 10 seconds ago. And that's just Cloyster's making sure that nothing gets too out of hand on an offensive standpoint. That's Cloyster. And then finally we have Gliscor. I didn't really know what to put in this last slot here. I have Earthquake, Rock Tomb, Defog, and Roost. I'm really especially defensive with a little bit of speed. I forget the speed was for. It was the outspeed, I think like Adamant and Necrozma. I think that's what it was. Like max speed Necrozma, but it was like Adamant or something like that or whatever. That's what that was there for. I really wanted Taunt or Toxic on the set, but if it is sub Moltres, I was pretty scared of that thing. So I felt like Rock Tomb I needed. And plus, Rock Tomb helps to lower speed on stuff like Autotomize, Necrozma, any Scarfers, like Scarf Gengar for whatever reason. Even though I'd probably click Earthquake in that scenario. And I just have Defog to get rid of Hazard Stack from like Spike's Klefki or Stealth Rocks on his team. That kind of Gliscor is just kind of hazard control overall. And to pivot around his team early game. But that is going to be the squad I am rocking up with for the semifinals game. I'm really excited to use this Superior set. I feel like it's going to put in a lot of work. Same with Blacephalon, and honestly, Gliscor might do a decent amount early game as well, so let's hope that is going to be a thing. We're going to head over to the Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we are on Pokemon Showdown, and my opponent brought a team that I wasn't really expecting. There is no Moltres, and there is no Ninetales, which both really shocked me. He did bring the Klefki, Palossand, and Alomomola. The Alomomola really does shock me, but the other two I could sort of see coming. In regards to lead, I'm going to lead off with Blacephalon. I did just want to click a button really early and just scout out for sets. As Hoopa comes in, and if Hoopa kills me turn 1, I won't be too upset about it, as I do Hidden Power Bug, and that tells me that this Hoopa is not Scarf, so that is good information to know, as this Hoopa is going to absolutely cook my book with a knockoff. So turn 1 we lose our Clown. Honestly, I'm pretty content with that because I did learn a lot of information. A, this Hoopa is not Scarf, meaning Gengar is most likely Scarf, and B, it's basically kind of dead. So that's that. Going to Superior, it's the only thing I have faster unless I want to reveal Scarf on Cloyster, which I don't. I click Giga Drain just to like because Klefki or Gengar was going to come out realistically. I can't sweep yet. So there's that. Gliscor to pivot into the Klefki because A, he is not showing leftovers because he's probably Shed Shell, and B, I get my Toxic Orb activated. I'm going to defog the Spike away just to see what he's going to switch into. He switches into Palossand. I'm going to go into Aromatisse initially just to see what this thing is going to do as they just set up rocks. Looking at my opponent's team, Rock Tomb is not looking too hot in this matchup. Taunt would have been a lot better, but hey, I really thought Moltres was going to come to this game, so, you know, hindsight's 2020, right? Anyway, stuff happens. I switch out my Gliscor as he makes a double into Necrozma. That's good on his part. I expect this Necrozma to be set up, so I'm going to go back out to Aromatisse just to scout out what this thing is going to do. As this Necrozma actually reveals Dragon Dance, so it is a physical set again. That does kind of throw me off guard. I thought this would be special, but I do have a max HP, max defense Aromatisse in against this Necrozma, so I'm not really too scared. I'm just going to fire off a Toxic. He is not Lumberry, which is great to see. He's probably like Weakness Policy or something like that, so I'm going to keep that in my mind. Now, he's going to fire for Photon Geyser. I'm just going to do a little bit of stall action as I'm just going to throw up a Wish here. That does a lot, but not a crazy ton. The only way this Necrozma gets rid of this Toxic, I believe, is if he is a Rest variant, which I don't think he's going to bring a Mono Psychic, considering I brought Malamar last time. I don't have it, so it would be good against this particular team, but I honestly expect him to be the exact same set now, knowing that he has DD. He does DD again, and that kind of shocked me. I just threw up a Wish again, expecting him to try and hit me now that he was at like +3. He's at +4 now, so that's really scary. I'm going to Protect just to try and stall out this one turn of Toxic here, as unfortunately he's going to bust out the Morning Sun. So he is a slightly different set, and that kind of sucks here because now he has a chance to kill me, and he can live another turn. This Photon Geyser here is a 50-50 roll, as looking at his investment afterwards, and he gets it. So that sucks. He did play around this Aromatisse extremely well, so he did kind of deserve it, to be completely honest. But because of that, I do have to sack another Mon here, and I decided to sack Cloyster. As long as I keep Superior and Magnezone in the back, I really feel like I can still win this game just because they have fantastic matchups here still. As Cloyster's going to go down, but Necrozma is going to go down in exchange. So it's 5-3. It doesn't look too hot, but I'm still not that bad about it. I'm going to sound a Gliscor just in case he goes out to Gengar, as he does. So that's kind of cool. I'm just going to fire off an Earthquake, as Gengar is going to have HP Ice, and I live. So that was a big live right there, as I'm going to absolutely nuke this Gengar, and is going to drop to an Earthquake. This was a fantastic turn for me. That is definitely a like Scarf damage Gengar, to be honest. This was big, because now Superior, the only thing stopping it is Klefki. Hoopa comes out, and I'm actually faster than it. That really shocked me, because I have a little bit of speed, and I am jolly, but I really expected it to outspeed me. So those two turns right there were absolutely phenomenal for me, because now it was 5-3, now it's 3-3, and I definitely have the advantage in regards to what Mons are alive. I'm going to roost up on this Alomomola. I'm going to speed it up a little bit in a few seconds, just because I want to scout out what this Alomomola has, right? Superior basically wins this game once I chip down Klefki, and I have 2 great Klefki answers, Gliscor and Magnezone. I want to scout out to make sure that like Alomomola doesn't fire off a Toxic on me for whatever reason. That is the one thing I could see stopping Superior at this point is Toxic. So I don't want to switch in on that. That would be like worst case scenario. So I'm just kind of scouting out this thing set. He's showing Liquidation now with Ice Beam and Wish, so I'm assuming its last move is Protect. I don't think this thing has Toxic, so that's Alomomola. Palisand could still have it too, so I'm also going to stay in and just fire off an Earthquake and scout. So far he has shown Rocks, and now you're going to see he pulls out Skill Swap. So that is a really cool tech that my opponent has. My Gliscor did not appreciate taking that Toxic damage. I'm going to switch out into Magnezone. I don't think he's going to click the ground move as he just throws up Rocks again. I'm going to go back on the Gliscor so he can't actually do that again to me. But that's some really good tech on my opponent. I really like that a lot. As they reveal Shore Up. So they have Stealth Rock, Shore Up, and Skill Swap. I'm assuming that last move is Earth Power. So at this point, I think Serp is pretty safe to switch into one of those 2 mons freely. So I'm going to keep that in my mind. I'm going to go on a Magnezone. Just a little bit more scouting here. He just throws up a Wish. It's whatever. I don't expect him to go on the Klefki, so I'm going to fire off a Toxic here as Palisand comes out. So I can get a little bit of leeway into trying to break through this. Now I finally go hard Superior on Palisand as they skill swap me. That's fine. It's not time for Serp to sweep yet because Klefki is still high. I'm kind of realizing at this point that I need Superior just to kind of break through everything, including Klefki. So that's the thing. Klefki doesn't get reliable recovery, so that is really helping me out in this matchup here. I go into Magnezone as I just fire off a T-Bolt as Palisand comes in. Honestly, I decided just to kind of take a risk here at this point. I'm going to click Flash Cannon. Maybe he's not going to click Earth Power, and Flash Cannon does a lot. Unfortunately, he does, and he does kill me with the Earth Power, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. I do have a free switch into Superior now, and I can fire off a Leaf Storm, basically, and force Klefki to take more damage. So Klefki is going to come in hard on Leaf Storm, and that's good. It's going to do like 20% again, and at this point, I'm realizing all I need to do is get Superior in one more time, and it wins the game. So there's that. I'm going to go on the Gliscor on the Toxic Klefki has revealed, so it's Toxic for me. And that's fine. I'm expecting Klefki to switch out now, so I'm actually going to double back out into Superior sort of to speed up the process a bit, as they do indeed double out into Alomomola. So now at this point, it should be game. I'm going to Leaf Storm here. I say this because Toxic won't be enough for the Klefki, because well, unless I miss my Leaf Storm, of course. Then as Klefki comes in and I'm going to hit my Leaf Storm, Toxic won't be enough for me because Giga Drain guaranteed kills this thing. And unless he gets a bunch of Protect rolls, he doesn't have enough turns to stall out, and Giga Drain is going to be healing up a lot. Unfortunately, he does have T-Wave, which is kind of fortunate for me because then he can't Toxic stall me. Unfortunately, I do get paralyzed, and this really sucks. But all I need to do is break through this Klefki, and at this point, I should be able to win the game. As he goes for Play Rough, and he gets pretty high roll. And you're going to see here that he paralyzes me again. So all of a sudden, things are looking really bad here. He Play Roughs me again, and I die. That's not an audio glitch. It's silent here. That just killed the entire mood of this game right there. That was really big because he paralyzed me, and I am Assault Vest. Palisand's only attacking move is Earth Power. It does 5 to 6% to me. Alomomola's Ice Beam does about 15%. So even if he paralyzed me the first time, it would have been fine. Superior would have been able to kill him with Giga Drain, and then he would have to hope I get paralyzed a bunch of times. But because I got paralyzed twice, I just lost the game because of that. Because no way Gliscor breaks through the Palisand and the Alomomola. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more after the battle, but unfortunately, guys, your Northside Noiverns are going to lose 1-0 to this fat fish here at the end. And just like that, our APM Season 3 run is going to come to an abrupt end. So yep, down goes Gliscor as our last standing member. And that will be the game. So GG to my opponent Memnus. Looking back at the game a few days later, switching out Superior one more time and playing the long game a little bit more probably would have won me the game, as long as I don't let Klefki get a wish from the Alomomola, of course. But in the heat of the moment, I was really focused in on my point of view, which I kind of did explain already. Basically, I would have won the game if I had broken through paralysis against the Klefki. I say this because Superior is faster than Alomomola, even if I am paralyzed. So it would have taken 2 Ice Beams to even potentially knock me out from 31%. And if I can Giga Drain once on that thing, then the whole game is basically over right there. I also want to quickly mention that Playoff's roll was 28.2 to 33.6. He got 32 on the first roll, and then the 31 on the second to finish me off. That's just a little bit of salt in the wound to actually add on to it, so that was really annoying at the time. I apologize to my opponent if I got a little bit salty there, but I didn't know that right away. But again, GG to Vemnoose. Thank you for the battle, and good luck in finals against Pesky. That is what the finals is currently consisting of. We only had this playoff run realistically just because of how the system was set up. I really don't think we really deserved to be in playoffs. Not saying we didn't deserve our win in the quarterfinals, because I definitely think we did deserve that. And this game, I really feel like we played well as well to add on top of that. But I can only be so mad about this loss in the end. Thank you guys for watching this APM run. I got a lot of views during this particular season, so I really appreciate you guys sticking around for this entire season, despite it being one of my worst in a really long time. And I hope you APM fans are excited for what is coming up, because next week APM Ubers starts. I have drafted a Ubers team for the APM's Fun League this time around. We are the APM Fun League current champion. We did lower tiers last time, and this time we're doing Ubers, so I hope you guys are excited for that. At the end of all of my drafts seasons, I do a breakdown of my draft in the very last video. This will be the last video because we are officially out of playoffs, so I am going to break down my team a little bit and talk about it. So if you are interested in that, this is basically where the video ends here. Thank you guys for watching if you are clicking off now, but I'm going to go now and break down my drafts team this season. Alright, so how I usually break this down is that I will throw stats up on screen. I'm going to pull a Shay. I will not be reading these off to you because you can read, and it will take way too long as well. But I want to start off by saying that this team was definitely not my favorite team I've used ever. I definitely enjoyed my Season 2 and lower tiers team a lot more than my Season 3 team in the APM. This team wasn't the most impressive overall. It wasn't the worst. I've had worse, but it wasn't that great, to be honest. But I do want to look at the positives to start off with. I want to start talking about Magnezone there. Magnezone was the kill leader with 12 kills in the regular season. While this thing wasn't my favorite mon on the team, it definitely impressed me the most. Like, I was blown away with Magnezone this season, because this was initially Duraludon, and I traded it for like something else. I got Bisharp, and I dropped Bisharp before the season started and got Magnezone, and that's how we got the Magnezone, and it put in a lot of work, and I was really impressed with it, so I could see myself drafting this thing again. It was still a pretty fun mon to use. It wasn't my favorite on the team, but I still liked it. Speaking of things I liked, Blacephalon is so much fun to play with. Prepping with it can be a little bit annoying sometimes just because its defenses are so bad, but playing with it is a lot of fun, and that's weird for me because I enjoy the prepping stage a little bit more than the playing stage, but in this case, Blacephalon, it was fun. Another thing I liked about this team was dropping Milotic week 4, I think we're week 5, and picking Cloyster. Great decision. Milotic, well, it's a nice mon. It's kind of a boring mon to be honest, and Cloyster was a lot more fun to prep and play with as well. Even though that special weakness was kind of hurting me a lot in a lot of scenarios, Cloyster was pretty fun to use overall, and 4 and 5 isn't bad for coming in midway through the season. I also felt like I played a little bit better in the second half of the season. That's something else I wanted to mention too. The first half of this season was like god awful. The first 5 weeks or first 4 weeks I hated in the APM. It was so bad. We went 2-2, but I just didn't have fun any of those games. But after once I had my battle with Love, I think that's when it turned. When I had my battle with Love, that's when it really started to kick up. I think every game after that I enjoyed, except for the one against Ian, unfortunately. But we all know why, basically. I did want to talk about that real quick because I just had a really bad start to this season. I do have a newer 6 for Gliscor. I have always liked it, and I did use it in IBA a little bit, but now I got a full season with it, and I did really enjoy using it. I definitely see myself drafting Gliscor again sometime in the future. Other mons I want to talk about, Superior, really unfortunate. I don't think Superior is a bad mon. I feel like it was 2-6 this season, and I just feel like every team had a really good answer to Superior, and some of them had a few good answers to Superior. I'm not exactly sure why, because Superior can have hidden power in this league. I couldn't get around to using Superior and having much success with it in this season. That could have been just me, but hey, I've had better times with it. I did better in the Ocean League than I did in here. Archeops, Heracross, and Normatisse are pretty fun mons to use. I don't have too much to say about them. They were fun. They were there. Let's go that. Malamar was literally there. Just kind of sat there. It was cool the first 2 weeks, but otherwise, that was kind of it. Guja and P2 were literally whatever on this team. They were kind of just slapped on each week and just click buttons until they died. Wasn't the biggest fan, even though I do like Guja a lot. It just didn't really impress me at all. And then finally, Kricketune for week 12, man. That was fun, but otherwise that was all Kricketune ever saw in the spotlight. And that is a really quick rundown of my whole team. I'm an APM season in a nutshell. Pretty fun. I prefer Season 2 and lower tiers a little bit more than this season, but hey, it was still a fun season. Jed's always the GOAT anyway, and I'm hoping Ubers is going to be pretty fun too. That will be next week, another APM league we're going to be a part of on the channel. It's nuts. But that is basically going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching so much if you're still around, and thank you for watching my APM run. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.